The text came while I was making dinner for my wife Sarah's grandfather, as I did every Tuesday and Thursday. It was from my sister-in-law, Jessica, and clearly sent to the wrong person. Family meeting tomorrow at 2 p.m. at Dad's, about Grandpa's will. Do not tell Mia. Sarah says she doesn't need to be there since she's not blood family, plus she might get ideas about the money. You know how housewives are. I stared at the message, wooden spoon dripping marinara onto the floor. After 8 years of marriage, after being the only one who actually cared for Grandpa while they all found excuses, I was not blood family. The spoon clattered into the sink. I screenshot the message before Jessica could delete it, then went back to stirring the sauce. Grandpa loved my marinara, said it reminded him of his late wife's. Smells good in here. Grandpa Joe shuffled into the kitchen, his walker clicking against the tile. At 93, he was sharp as ever, just slower in body. Your favorite, I said, keeping my voice light. Extra basil, just how you like it. He settled at the kitchen table, watching me cook. You're upset about something. I never could hide anything from him, just family stuff. Ah, he nodded knowingly. The vulture circling already? Joe. Don't Joe me, I know my children, they visit once a month, if that. You're here twice a week, sometimes more. They call when they need money. You call to ask how my doctor's appointment went. I plated his dinner, setting it down gently. They're still your family. Family isn't just blood, Mia. Family is who shows up. After dinner, I helped him to his study. He insisted on walking himself, proud even in his decline. Once settled in his chair, he pulled out a worn envelope from his desk drawer. I want to show you something, he said, handing it to me. But first, tell me your maiden name again. I know it's Italian, like mine. Benedetti, I said, confused. Why? His eyes lit up. Benedetti, I knew a Benedetti once. Saved my business, actually. Antonio Benedetti. My heart stopped. That was my great-grandfather. Joe leaned back, a smile spreading across his weathered face. Is that so? Small world, smaller than my children think. Anyway. The envelope contained old photographs and documents. I recognized my great-grandfather in one of the pictures, standing next to a much younger Joe outside what looked like a factory. 1952, Joe said. I was about to lose everything. Bad investment, worse timing. Your great-grandfather was my competitor, could have let me fail and taken my contracts. Instead, he loaned me money, no interest, said good businesses deserved to survive, and good men deserved second chances. I never knew this story. I paid him back every penny, but the debt was more than money. When he died, I tried to help his family, but they were proud, wouldn't take charity. He studied me carefully. You have his eyes, you know, same kindness. Joe, why are you telling me this? Because tomorrow my children are having their secret meeting about my will. They think I don't know, but Jessica's husband Richard can't keep his mouth shut after 2 beers. He patted my hand. They're going to be very surprised. I don't understand. You will. Just promise me something. When they realize what I've done, don't let them make you feel guilty. You've earned everything coming to you. The next day, I went about my routine, pretending I didn't know my wife's family was gathering to discuss my exclusion from an inheritance. Sarah left for the meeting with a guilty kiss and a mumbled excuse about errands. I spent the afternoon with Grandpa instead. We played cards, looked through more photos, and he told me stories about his business that his own children had never bothered to hear. Did you know, he said, dealing another hand of gin rummy, that your great-grandfather's loans saved over 200 jobs? My factory employed half the neighborhood. If I'd gone under, he shook his head. The Benedettis saved more than just my business. They saved families. And you built it into an empire, I said, discarding a card, which my children can't wait to carve up. He picked up my discard with a sly smile. Gin. That evening, Sarah came home looking shaken. She found me in the kitchen, making dinner as always. How was your day? I asked innocently. Fine, just family stuff. She wouldn't meet my eyes. Anything you want to talk about? No, just Dad being Dad. You know how he is. I did know. Robert Sr. treated me like the help, despite my being married to his daughter. The fact that I'd chosen to stay home and care for our twins while Sarah pursued her career meant I was just a housewife in his eyes. 2 weeks later, the call came at 3 a.m. Grandpa Joe had passed peacefully in his sleep. I was the one who found him, having gone to check when he didn't answer his morning call. He looked content, almost smiling. The funeral was beautiful. I gave the eulogy because none of his children felt composed enough, though they managed to discuss inheritance details in hushed corners throughout the service. When's the will reading? I heard Robert Jr. whisper to Jessica. Thursday, lawyer said we all need to be there. Even, he glanced at me. No, just blood family, and their spouses, I guess, but not her. Sarah found me by the graveside after everyone else had left. Mia, there's a will reading Thursday. Okay. It's just for family. I understand. She looked relieved and guilty in equal measure. You do? You've made it clear where I stand, Sarah. The text Jessica sent me by accident was quite illuminating. Her face went white. You saw that? Just a housewife who might get ideas about the money. Yes, I saw it. I didn't mean. You excluded me from a meeting about the man I cared for twice a week for 5 years, the man whose medications I managed, whose doctors I drove him to, whose favorite meals I cooked. But please, go to your blood family meeting. I'm sure the people who visited him once a month have important things to discuss. Thursday arrived. Sarah left for the lawyer's office, mumbling another excuse. I waited exactly 30 minutes, then drove to the same building. The receptionist smiled. Mrs. Chen, Mr. Garrett is expecting you. Conference room 3. Sarah's family was already seated when I walked in. The shock on their faces was priceless. What is she doing here? Robert Sr. demanded. Mr. Garrett, the lawyer, stood. Mrs. Chen is here at my request. She's named in the will. That's impossible, Jessica snapped. She's not family. Please, everyone, let's sit. Mr. Garrett opened his folder. This is the last will and testament of Joseph Anthony Moretti, dated 6 months ago. Before we begin, Mr. Moretti left a video message to be played first. The screen on the wall flickered to life. Grandpa Joe appeared, sitting in his study, looking directly at the camera. If you're watching this, then I'm gone, and you're all probably wondering about the money. His voice was strong, amused. $2 million. That's what you're here for, right? Well, let me tell you a story. He told them about 1952, about my great-grandfather, about the loan that saved his business. The room grew increasingly uncomfortable. Which brings me to Mia Benedetti Chen. Yes, Robert, I know her maiden name, something none of you bothered to learn in 8 years. The great-granddaughter of the man who saved everything you're about to inherit. Sarah grabbed my hand under the table. I pulled it away. But that's not why I'm doing this, Grandpa continued. I'm doing this because in 5 years, Mia visited me more than all of you combined. She knew my doctor's names, my medications, my favorite foods. She listened to my stories. She cared for me not because she had to, but because that's who she is. Robert Sr. was turning purple. Jessica looked like she'd swallowed a lemon. So here's my decision. The house on Maple Street goes to my son Robert. It's worth about $400,000. Jessica gets the vacation home in Tahoe, roughly the same value. Robert Jr. and Thomas each receive $200,000 in cash. Sarah gets $100,000 and my blessing to be better to her wife than she's been. The family relaxed slightly. That was $1. $3 million accounted for. The remaining $700,000, plus my 60% stake in Moretti Industries, goes to Mia Benedetti Chen. The room exploded. This is insane. She manipulated him. We'll contest this. Mr. Garrett raised his hand. Please, let him finish. Grandpa Joe smiled from the screen. I know you're upset. You thought the business would be yours. But ask yourself, who among you knows how it runs? Who visited the factories? Who met with the managers? Only Mia, because she actually listened when I talked about my life's work. Furthermore, he continued, I've structured this bequest in an interesting way. Mia's inheritance is contingent on her remaining married to Sarah for at least 1 more year, not because I doubt their love, but because I want Sarah to understand what she has. A partner who shows up, that's worth more than any inheritance. The video ended. The room was silent except for Robert Sr.'s heavy breathing. This is ridiculous, he finally spat. She's not even a real Benedetti, just some housewife who. I'd be very careful how you finish that sentence, Mr. Garrett interrupted. Mrs. Chen is now the majority owner of Moretti Industries. Your employer, I believe? Robert Sr.'s face went from purple to white. He was CFO of Moretti Industries, a position he'd assumed would make him owner once Joe died. As for contesting the will, Mr. Garrett continued, Mr. Moretti anticipated that any family member who legally challenges this distribution forfeits their entire inheritance. It would go to charity instead. Jessica turned on me. You knew about this. You manipulated him. I found out the same time you did, I said calmly, though I did know about the Benedetti connection. He told me 2 weeks ago, after you all had your secret meeting about excluding me. How did you know about that? Sarah asked. I showed them the screenshot of Jessica's text. You sent it to me by mistake. Just a housewife who might get ideas about the money. Well, surprise. This housewife now owns the company that pays your husband's salary. Mia, Sarah started, reaching for me again. I'm so sorry, I never should have. No, you shouldn't have. 8 years of marriage and you let them treat me like an outsider. You went along with excluding me from family discussions. You diminished everything I did for your grandfather because I don't have a paying job. But we can work through this. The will says we need to stay married. For 1 more year, I finished. Grandpa Joe was giving you a chance to appreciate what you have. But Sarah, I'm not sure you can. Mr. Garrett cleared his throat. There's one more thing, Mr. Moretti left a personal letter for Mrs. Chen. He handed me an envelope. Inside was a handwritten note. Dear Mia. Asterisk by now the cats are among the pigeons. As my Rosa used to say, you're probably feeling guilty, don't asterisk. Asterisk you gave me something my children never did, your time and genuine care. You listened to an old man's stories. You learned about my business because you were interested, not because you wanted it asterisk. Asterisk the Benedetti Moretti connection is poetry, but it's not why I'm doing this. I'm doing this because you're the only one who saw me as Joe, not as a wallet asterisk. Asterisk run the company well, take care of the employees, and don't let my children bully you, you're tougher than you think asterisk. Remember, family is who shows up. Asterisk all my love. Joe. Asterisk p.s. The marinara recipe is in my desk drawer. Rosa would want you to have it asterisk. I folded the letter carefully, tears in my eyes. Around me, the family continued to argue, scheme, threaten, but I wasn't listening anymore. I need to go, I said, standing. You can't just leave, Robert Sr. shouted. We need to discuss this. No, you need to discuss this. I need to go home and decide if I want to run a company whose CFO has spent 8 years treating me like dirt. You can't fire me, I've been there 20 years. I can do whatever I think is best for Moretti Industries. Grandpa Joe trusted me to make those decisions. I looked at Sarah. I'll be at my sister's. We have a lot to talk about when you're ready to see me as more than just a housewife. As I walked out, I heard Jessica's bitter voice. I can't believe she gets everything just for making him dinner twice a week. I turned back. No, Jessica, I got everything for seeing him as a person twice a week. The difference matters. The next morning, I sat in Grandpa Joe's office at Moretti Industries, reviewing files and meeting with department heads. The business was solid but stagnant, run by people more interested in their paychecks than the company's legacy. My phone rang. Sarah. Can we talk? She asked. I'm at the office. The office? What office? My office, at Moretti Industries. I'm the majority owner, remember? Silence. Then, this isn't you, Mia. You're not some corporate. What? Finish that sentence. Sarah, I'm not some corporate what? Not smart enough? Not educated enough? Just a housewife? That's not what I meant. Then what did you mean? Because for 8 years, you've let your family diminish me, and now you're doing it too. I want to fix this. Then start by asking yourself why you were so comfortable excluding me from that meeting, why you never defended me when your father called me just anything, why you assumed I couldn't possibly have anything to offer beyond cooking and cleaning. Mia. I have a meeting with the board in 10 minutes. I need to go be just a housewife who owns a company. I hung up and looked at the photo on Joe's desk, him and my great-grandfather, standing in front of the original factory, 2 Italian men who believed in honor, family, and showing up. I'll make you both proud, I whispered. The conference room door opened. Robert Sr. walked in, looking haggard. We need to talk, he said. Do we? Because yesterday you made it clear I'm just a gold-digging housewife who manipulated an old man. I was surprised, shocked. This changes everything. No, Robert, nothing's changed. I'm the same person I was yesterday and last year and 8 years ago. The only difference is now you know I have power. The board won't accept you. You have no experience. I have 5 years of listening to Joe discuss every aspect of this business. I know more about our supply chains, our contracts, our employees than you do. You know why? Because I cared enough to ask. You can't possibly think. I think you have 2 choices. You can work with me to make this company everything Joe envisioned, or you can find another job, but what you can't do is continue to disrespect me. He left without another word. The board meeting went better than expected. Most members had genuinely loved Joe and were curious about his choice. When I presented my initial observations and suggestions, all based on conversations with Joe, they seemed impressed. That evening, I returned to what had been Joe's house, now mine. Sarah was waiting on the porch with flowers. "I've been an ass," she said. "Yes. I let my family's attitude influence me. I saw you choosing to stay home as not ambitious. Caring for our children and your grandfather wasn't ambitious?" It is. I got caught up in my father's worldview. Success means money, careers, titles. And now that I have those things?" She winced. "That's the problem, isn't it? I'm only seeing your worth now because of money and a title. God, I'm exactly like them." "You are. The question is whether you want to stay that way." "I don't, Mia. I love you, not because you own a company now, but because you're the woman who made my grandfather's last years beautiful, who raises our children with patience I could never have, who builds a home worth coming back to." Pretty words, Sarah, but we both know if Joe had left everything to your brothers, we wouldn't be having this conversation. I'd still be just a housewife you excluded from family discussions. You're right, and I hate that you're right. I hate what that says about me. "Joe gave us a year," I said. "1 year to figure out if we're really family or if I'm just convenient. I'm willing to try, but things have to change, really change, not just because I'm suddenly wealthy." "What do you need from me?" "Respect, real respect, not the kind that comes from a bank balance. Defense when your family tries to diminish me, partnership in every sense of the word." "I can do that. I want to do that. We'll see." A year later, we're still married, not because of Joe's condition, but because Sarah did the work. Therapy, difficult conversations with her family, and a complete reassessment of what she valued. Robert Sr. retired early when it became clear I actually knew how to run the company. Jessica's husband left her when the money he'd been promised didn't materialize. The others adapted, some gracefully, some not. I kept the Benedetti name professionally, Mia Benedettichin, CEO of Moretti Industries, a hyphenated bridge between the man who saved the company and the man who left it to me. In Joe's desk, I found Rosa's marinara recipe, written in her careful script. At the bottom, a note in Joe's handwriting, "For the one who shows up." I still make it every Tuesday and Thursday, not for an obligation, but for my family, the ones who've learned that showing up matters more than showing off. The inheritance was never about the money, it was Joe's final lesson to his children: value is measured in presence, not presents, in time given, not just blood shared. They thought they were excluding just a housewife from their important family meeting. They had no idea they were excluding a Benedetti, someone who understood that family isn't about what you're entitled to, but what you contribute. Grandpa Joe knew exactly what he was doing. He gave them property and cash. He gave me a purpose and a legacy. And he gave Sarah a second chance to see that the woman making marinara in her kitchen was worth more than any inheritance. Some lessons are worth $700,000 and a company to learn. This one was.